welcome to Newsline. Now, if I was on stage, I might jokingly borrow from the classic MC playbook and say, let me stand on existing protocol already established. But on a lighter note, we all know that that phrase has been overused. And honestly, it's not encouraged. So let's just skip the formalities and dive straight into the heart of our program tonight. They say it's the little things that count, those everyday acts that leave the biggest impressions. Now, I'm not here to point fingers or suggest it's just the men. Women aren't also off the hook either. But stay tuned and you'll understand exactly what I mean. Tonight also, we'll draw lessons from life's toughest hurdles. You get to meet someone who turned a life-altering challenge into a stepping stone, blazing a trail for future generations of cyclists. Now, it's a story that will certainly make you pause and marvel at the strength of the human spirit. But there's much more, from the vibrant celebration of our culture and tradition to weddings that sparkle with joy, and even those bittersweet goodbyes. We've got a lineup filled with moments that speak to every heart. But before all that, though, let's start with the news and, of course, sports update. Agochukwu, Ona, and Bade Adeleye are already standing by to bring us to speed with the latest news. Agochukwu, I know it's been an especially tough week, marked by another tragic petrol tanker accident and, of course, the heartbreaking loss of innocent lives. I'm wondering what more you can tell us from the news tonight.
Well, Claire, it's actually been so disturbing and heartbreaking indeed. And it keeps one wondering what actually is the problem. But however, it's good to know that the federal government has begun an intense advocacy on the dangers. Right. Good evening and welcome to the news. President Bola Tinubu has arrived Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, ahead of the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit 2025. State House correspondent Musbao Danoha reports that the summit, hosted by the government of Tanzania in collaboration with the African Development Bank Group and the World Bank, aims to advance Mission 300, an initiative to provide electricity access to 300 million people in Africa by 2030. On arrival, President Tinubu was received by the Foreign Affairs Minister of Tanzania and Change the Affairs of Nigerian High Commission in Tanzania. And of course, here are highlights of the Energy Summit, which is hereby presented.
In Dar es Salaam, African leaders, private sector leaders, development partners, and civil society groups will strategize to accelerate energy access across the continent. The summit will provide a platform for sharing knowledge, expertise, and resources to address Africa's energy challenges. Discussions will focus on accelerating energy access in underserved regions, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and mobilizing African sector investment. On the first day, at the ministerial level, participating countries, including Nigeria, will present their national energy strategies, termed compacts, detailing their approaches to achieving universal energy access within 5 years. On the second day, heads of state will endorse the Dar es Salaam Energy Declaration, outlining a unified roadmap for Africa's progress towards the Mission 300 objectives. President Tinubu will deliver a national statement reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to achieving universal access to energy and its leadership role in Africa's energy sector, and highlight Nigeria's ongoing clean energy initiatives and its strategy to drive integrated energy delivery on the continent.
The Federal Republic of Nigeria congratulates the Republic of India on our 76th anniversary celebration. In a statement, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, extends fraternal greetings to his Indian counterparts on the celebration. Tuga says Nigeria and India have maintained strong ties for decades and continue to witness continued strategic partnerships in global affairs aimed at enhancing political and economic prosperity of both countries. Nigeria appreciates the excellent relations and pledges support for the governments and the people of the Republic of India. Yobe State is pioneering the implementation of Argo climate resilience in semi-arid landscapes, ACRESAL, a World Bank-assisted project with the disbursement of more than $2 million to 101 communities and farmers, and as farmers groups under the Community Climate Resilience component of the project. The intervention aims to combat climate change-induced poverty among farming communities by providing sustainable agricultural practices with financial backing. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
ACRESAL's Community Revolving Fund is a subcomponent under Community Climate Resilience that aims to empower local communities by making funds available to boost agricultural productivity for enhanced food security. To achieve this goal, more than 2.5 million in interest-free loans has been disbursed to 101 communities and farmers groups to catalyze sustainable agricultural growth, improve livelihoods, and promote climate resilience among rural communities in the state.
We greatly appreciate you for this kindly giving to.
First tranche of the Community Revolving Fund that the federal government of Nigeria and the 19 northern states and FCT came together to take facility from the World Bank for the purposes of uplifting the poor and the downtrodden was well executed in Yobe.
In line with our policy on youth empowerment, I have directed the allocation of 4,825 slots out of the total 7,340 slots to the youth for maximum engagement and benefit of the community.
In a pilot phase, 10 communities in Damaturu and Guru local government areas received $25,000 each last year, demonstrating the World Bank's commitment to reducing global poverty indices through targeted interventions. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA.
And now to road infrastructure. The federal government's target of improving the connectivity and condition of major roads has continued with a total rehabilitation of the route linking Kano, Jigawa and Bauchi states. The rehabilitation project of the road that also passes through Yobe to Borno states by the Federal Road Maintenance Agency is expected to ease movement of goods and services for Nigeria's economic growth. Awal Abdullahi has details.
Among the significant routes in Nigeria which are playing a critical role in promoting economic development is this one that enables efficient movement of goods and services between Kano, Jigawa, Bauchi, and neighboring states. This direct federal government project around Ganjua local government area of Bauchi state is aimed at ensuring an improved condition to handle the increasing vehicular movement, which includes cutting and scooping of potholes and laying of asphalt.
This is a new innovation of coal asphalt, which is innovated by FEMA, and we are using our flameless pothole patcher for this exercise.
The road project is part of the federal government's commitment to ensuring potholes-free roads across the country. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu condoles with the government and the people of Enugu State over the fuel tanker explosion, which resulted in the loss of lives on Saturday. The fuel tanker reportedly spiraled out of control and burst into flames while navigating the Ugwu-Onyama section of the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway. President Tinubu commiserates with the families of the deceased and the injured and prays for the repose of the souls of the departed and quick recovery for those receiving medical treatment. The president calls for caution and adherence to safety measures among road users, particularly fuel tanker operators. President Tinubu further calls on agencies in charge of enforcing traffic rules to implement measures to prevent recurring fuel tanker explosions nationwide. Care for lepers resonates as the global community marks the 2025 World Leprosy Day. Kevin Samuel was at the Leprosy Hospital in Akwa Ibom State to see this set of Nigerians in need of help and reports that there is a clarion call for regular support of governments and good-spirited individuals.
Over that, most of them days, they will not eat. Most of them will even tell me that that most of them passed on because there is no food.
Leprosy, a chronic progressive bacterial infection, is caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium leper. Leprosy, also known as Hansen's disease, is one of the oldest diseases recorded in history, which causes nerves and skin damages, muscle weakness, among others. Here in Akwa Ibom State, Kwa Ibom Church Leprosy Hospital provides shelter for many of the affected persons who are mostly abandoned by friends and family members due to their situation. Though government and some good-spirited individuals are doing their best to put smiles on the faces of lepers,
To anybody that God has blessed, as you have food in your house to eat, we need to remember that people like this exist.
despite their obvious difficult situations, many lepers have managed to give birth to healthy children who have acquired different levels of education, but these lepers seek for employment to enable them meet up with challenges of parenting.
No vehicle for the doctor, no vehicle for the ill-mate, no light here. As you see this place, no lights.
In those days, they used to give our children scholarship. But now, since the TLM has left, all those things is no longer here.
And my future is good because of my children. I need governor. They give house. They save our children.
The 2025 World Leprosy Day has as its theme, Unite, Act, and Eliminate Leprosy. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
And now the FCT Association of Resident Doctors has suspended its 3-day warning strike, attributing the change of heart to prompt intervention of the FCT administration. Aisha Ubali reports.
3-day warning strike by FCT resident doctors, which commenced on 22nd January 2025, ended yesterday, 25th January 2025. And being weekend, all doctors on call are on seat, but activities are yet to pick up on a large scale. The FCT resident doctors, before the strike, wrote memos to the administration before embarking on the warning strike. Payment of outstanding salaries, arrears, as well as other demands, such as approvals for the payment of medical residency training funds, as well as approval for immediate employment of doctors, among others. Dr. George Ebong says the administration should adhere to best global standards to avoid doctors' exhaustion and also minimize human errors due to workload.
Have a situation whereby a doctor will do 7 cesarean sections in a day. We can't cope with that.
The situation in other hospitals such as Asukuru is similar to that of Wuse General Hospital, as the doctors believe that activities will pick up now that the strike has been called off. In the meantime, the association says it will release a communique by Monday, 27th January 2025. In Abuja, Aisha Ubali, NTA News.
The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has announced the suspension of access gate fees at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. This decision, effective from Friday, January 24 to Friday, February 7, 2025, aims to ease traffic congestion caused by ongoing construction work. In a statement signed by Obiageli Ora, FAN expressed its commitment to reducing the burden on airport road users during this period. The agency also apologizes for any inconvenience caused and assured travelers of efforts to maintain smooth travel experience. U.S.-bound refugees around the world despair as President Donald Trump's executive order takes effect and more civilians flee as fighting in Democratic Republic of Congo gets bigger. We have details with Kolo Mohammed.
Years in Hong Kong as a refugee, John received tickets that will grant his family new lives in the United States, only for them to be snatched away by a stroke of the pen by President Donald Trump. Trump's executive order to suspend all refugee admissions and halt the U.S. asylum program was signed hours after taking office. He left adrift dozens in the Chinese city approved for U.S. settlement. In other news, fighting between the army and M23 rebel group has further forced more civilians to flee their living abodes, bringing more people out of their comfort zones into the streets, ravaged by the absence of basic necessities for daily healthy life and living. This brought divergent people to a life of absence of daily needs, replete in daily struggle for survival. Women and children, the aged, alongside domestic animals, struggle to eat or drink from the same sources. As the journey to no defined destination continues, the idea is to get as far away as possible from the warring parties. Kolom Hamad, NTA.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted a consignment of loud packaged for export to the United Kingdom at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. The agency also recovered opioids and various weapons in raids across Lagos, Ekiti, Kwara, and Kano states. Sawal Khalil Ibrahim has details.
6 parcels of the psychoactive substance with a gross weight of 3.50 kilograms were concealed inside a duvet. 2 suspects linked to the bid to export the consignment to the United Kingdom were promptly arrested following the discovery by NDLEA officers on Tuesday, 21st January 2025. Additionally, 2 suspects were arrested at Ikorodu area of Lagos when NDLEA operatives raided their hideout in the community, where 7 liters of Scoochies, a new psychoactive substance. Other exhibits seized from the suspects include 3 locally made double-barrel rifles and 1 locally made double-barrel pistol, among other ammunition. In Ekiti, a 25-year-old suspect was arrested by NDLEA officers on Thursday, 23rd January, with 1.950 kilogram Canadian loud, while another suspect was nabbed by operatives on Monday, 20th January, in Kwara State with different assortment of illicit substances. And in Kano, a Nigerian alongside 2 others were arrested by NDLEA operatives at Gidan Tamburawa, Kano. 125 liters of Sokandai, a new psychoactive substance, were recovered from them. In Dawakin Kudu Council area of Kano State, a cannabis plantation was located and destroyed by a team of NDLEA officers who arrested a suspect linked to the farm. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
And now sports. Jockey enthusiasts were treated to an exciting and captivating moment at the just concluded Hope Renewed International Horse Racing Tournament, where President Bola Tinubu's thoroughbred horse carted home the trophy of this year's competition. The dash, tagged Sahel Savannah Stake Series Bida 2025, organized by the Horse Racing Federation of Nigeria, attracted horsemen from across Africa. Musa Mikhail is standing by with sights and sounds of the sporting event.
Excitement engulfed the Sultan Saad Abubakar International Racecourse in the ancient town of Bida, venue of the Hope Renewed International Horse Racing Tournament, where sport fans were treated to a spectacular speed and tradition as horsemen slug it out among themselves. In the tournament, 6 trophies in the various categories named after prominent jockeys enthusiasts, including President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, were competed for, with winners in each category carting home a Peugeot Saloon car and cash donation of 50,000 naira each.
Today, I'm very, very, very happy.
Second, third and fourth positions in each of the categories also got 700, 500 and 350,000 naira each.
The president was very keen about this. He's very passionate about it and asked that I come here and represent him and see what is happening. And then we can now engage with the federation and see how we can make it more expansive.
We are hoping
as a federation, that the Horse Racing Federation will have a national recognition.
Everywhere in the world, horse racing is something that is loved.
Beyond the sport aspect of it, you could also see a huge economy that is waiting to be tapped into. So,
and as I'm seated here, watching what is the activities that are going on here, I'm equally thinking if I can make the same thing happen in Lokoja.
Horse unites humanity, and I believe that the Horse Racing Federation of Nigeria will unite Nigerians more. We have to come here and see, and we are really impressed.
The tournament, which is an annual event, is expected to continue in other states of the federation, including Sokoto, Adamawa, and Plateau State. Musa Mikael, NTA News.
Very interesting there. And for more in sports, Bade, it's over to you.
All right, many thanks, Ogo. Let's begin with grassroots sports development, as organizers of the Rising Star Football League say the tournament will be returning to Abuja for the second season. 20 teams from different area councils of the Federal Capital Territory took part in the 2024 league, which culminated in a Super 4 tournament that produced the eventual champions. At a press conference in Abuja, organizers revealed the 20-team format will be retained this year, with 3 teams to be relegated to give way for the injection of 3 fresh teams who will first compete in the qualifiers for the available spots.
Initially, we had a plan of doing Abuja, Lagos edition, but we wanted to make sure we focus on, because Abuja already we have laid the foundation. It was more like a walk in the park, but Lagos was going to be extremely very difficult as it is now. We are going to come back to Abuja where we've laid the foundation and where we know everything is going to be lighter for us for now.
We had a lot of facilities that matches were played but couldn't be televised. Not because the matches didn't hold, but because they were not standard enough. So that's what we are working on now. The better the venues, the better the players, and more media coverage for the players.
This time around, I think we'll go beyond the Buhari Stadium. We are aware that there are some other facilities that have come up for use, like the Nyanya facility. We are aware that there's a facility in Nyanya, and we're also trying to see how we can exploit the University of Abuja.
Now, Remo Stars began the second stanza of the Nigeria Premier Football League the same way they ended the first, as they ran out 2-1 winners away to Akwa United on Sunday in one of the matchday 20 games to strengthen their lead atop the standings. The Sky Blue Stars are now on 39 points from 20 games, 5 points clear of their closest challengers, Rivers United, who lost 2-1 away to Plateau United in Jos, while Heartland continued their move up the log with a narrow 1-0 win over strugglers Lobby Stars. And straight to the English Premier League, where Tottenham slumped to a 4th straight Premier League defeat as strugglers Leicester City fought back from a goal down to claim their first win in 9 games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In other results, Emerson's fine header secured West Ham a deserved 1-1 draw with Aston Villa. And that was at Villa Park, while Brentford marked Thomas Frank's 300th game in charge with a 2-1 win over Crystal Palace in wet and windy conditions at Selhurst Park. The match between Fulham and Manchester United is now in its second half, and the last time we checked, it was still goalless, with Fulham dominating the game. All right, let's move away from football and straight to tennis, as Yannick Sinner, the world #1, defended his Australian Open title on Sunday, comfortably defeating Alexander Zverev 6-3, 7-6, 6-3 in the men's final to secure his 3rd career Grand Slam title. Sinner became just the 8th player in the Open era since 1968 to win the first 3 Grand Slam men's singles finals he has contested. Just over a year ago, Sinner hadn't won a Grand Slam title. He was still a promising youngster, unproven, but earmarked for great things. Now, the 23-year-old is the first Italian player to win 3 Grand Slam titles, 2 at the Australian Open and 1 at the US Open. and he has been the dominant player on the men's tour since he gained the mantle of world #1 in June 2024. And that's our beat on sports. Let's now return to the duo of Ogo and Claire. And evidently what I'll be talking about, is the draws for the AFCON, which will be coming up on Monday. We're waiting to see the group that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be placed among the 24 competing nations.
Well, the 24 nations will, try to clinch the cup this time around. And we hear that the pot is, of course, drawn according to the ranking of, the countries by FIFA. And Nigeria, of course, is on the hot pot. Of course, South Africa is also on another hot spot. Well, I don't know. I think we just keep our fingers crossed, whichever way it goes. We are hoping that that the Super Eagles will do us, proud this time around. I don't know what Ogo is thinking. Ogo, I'm sure you're thinking about the Premier League. Well,
no, it's on the AFCON draws,
okay.
Which is taking place tomorrow. And I know Nigerians can't wait for December. All eyes will be on Morocco. Like they say in sports, 24 countries are going to lock horns. Is that right, Bade?
Very correct. And to be the best, you have to beat the best.
But what about Man City and Man U? It appears that Man U's woes continues this evening. I don't know, playing draw.
They are currently playing Fulham, and let's see how that is going to pan out. But at the moment, the last time we checked, it wasn't really, they were not at their top performance. So it could go either ways. That's football for you. But for Manchester City, they beat Chelsea on Saturday, and that was huge for them.
All right. Ogo, over to you.
All right, Bade, thank you very much. And of course, our sports-loving Claire. Thank you. And next is a quick look at the weather prospect for tomorrow, Monday.
Hello and welcome. We're expecting a relatively stable weather pattern over the next 24 hours, with minimal changes in conditions across the country. In the north and the north-central regions, a slight dust haze is expected to persist, reducing visibility and air quality. Meanwhile, in the southern region, a mix of cloud patches and hazy atmosphere will dominate the weather landscape. And as we head into the afternoon and evening, there is prospect of isolated thunderstorm developing across parts of Lagos, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State. And that's all for Monday's forecast. I'm Sefia Hassan Yunusa. Thank you for watching.
The lineup indicates a break. Newsline will be back.